When we opened the backpackers hostel in South Tel Aviv, people told me I'm crazy. I remember standing on the roof with some experienced colleagues, and they were waving their hands at the sea of concrete spreading into the horizon and told me, what tourist is going to come to such a location? The building, a concrete, jail-looking former factory, surrounded by car workshops and warehouses in the very industrial south of Tel Aviv. Sounds sketchy, eh? But just imagine when the sunset and darkness arrives, you just need to burn some tires and you've got this post-apocalyptic Mad Max scene. I remember watching the guests in the CCTV, getting out of the taxi, running to the gate, grasping to their bags, praying that the door will open before some zombies are going to reach from the darkness and tear them apart. Apparently, the number one rule of real estate, and I think this is especially true for tourism, is that the three most important things are location, location, location. Well, obviously, I was not aware of it. But preparing for this, I tried to rationalize, and I think I have some explanation maybe. I suggest that the first location refers to a destination, whether it is a popular metropolitan or a region in the country that is very attractive. The second location would refer to a district within that destination. So in a city, it would be the beach area or the downtown or maybe the nightlife area. And the third location refers to the building itself, that it is suitable for the purpose you want to use it. Well, still, it seems like it was not the best decision. But let's put this into proportion. For us, Tel Avivians, walking 15 minutes anywhere is an expedition. We need to prepare. We're not always willing to do it. But for the average European coming from a city of millions, going to the beach or the nightlife area or something, 15 minutes is just a walk around the block. And regarding the location and the building, to my eyes, to my naive eyes maybe, it held the promise of generating this very special atmosphere. This very atmosphere because of which I'm living in that part of the city. To me, that area is the place where I can play freely, there's no neighbors to disturb, the rent is very cheap, and it's also a hub for the upcoming artist community. It's full of street art, and you have nightlife and parties, a lot of things happening that most people are not aware of. And when we set up the hostel, this was the mission that we wanted to bring to our tourists. We wanted to share with them exactly this upcoming part of the city, just like you can find in many other cities around the world. Probably in Brooklyn, New York, it's still this way, the eastern neighborhoods of Berlin, Oakland, California. So we're trying to think what kind of tourists actually will this setting will work for. Because there's some interesting stuff going on in that region, and you need to be a little bit open-minded. So first, of course, we have the traditional backpackers that are always looking for something alternative, but we have a growing share of the market of tourists coming to Israel and traveling around the world, which are the FITs, maybe you've heard of them, foreign international travelers. They are characterized by planning their own trip in small groups or individuals. They are very conscious of their budget. They're very tech savvy. They will research their destination on the social media, look into the photos, read your reviews, and they're also always looking for that genuine interaction with the culture they're visiting. So I think that this kind of tourists don't want to feel like tourists. They're trying to, how to say, they're brandishing their North Face jackets, and they've got these GoPro cameras and these ridiculous Spartan microfiber useless towels. But what they're looking for is to actually get into the culture that they are. They feel like they're pioneers, actually, exploring. And to do that, they're trying to get off the beaten track. So to actually know who these guests are, I was the first to man the reception. I checked them in. I took them out at night. We had some beers together. The morning after, I checked them out and said goodbye to them. And during this time frame, we actually managed to bond and to make a connection. And they actually gave me genuine feedback about their experience. I got to live my city through their eyes. And I also got genuine feedback about my business itself. And even better than that, I made friends for life, which I enjoy visiting around the world. Just yesterday, I came back from Berlin after I was hosted by 3 different of these. So another thing that we did was when we started to have these budget airlines flying into Israel, for example, we got hit by this wave of very excited Polish travelers. They were gifting us with vodka bottles, and we were cheering together. So not long after, I gathered a few friends, and we jumped one of these planes returning back to Warsaw. I chose the most remote hostel from the city center I could in the district of Praga in Warsaw. And over there, looking very much like our own Florentine, we got to meet the travelers that are coming from Warsaw and coming to visit us in Israel. I got to know them in their natural habitat. So next time when I checked the Polak into the hostel, small talk was natural and real. And we shared an intimacy because the truth is that both of us has visited each other's homes. So knowing that this is the kind of guest that we have, and considering our location, which is quite still an alternative, we started to design the place fitting for them, fitting for the budget travelers, the students on vacations, those FITs, and we actually built the place ourselves, built the facilities, renovated, painted. We created shared bathrooms because it's a communal atmosphere they're trying to create, and the conditions are very basic. The rooms are basic, but the common areas, we invested in them. They have a communal kitchen where they can cook and meet each other and share their experiences, and the whole place is designed in a very artsy, hipster kind of a way. There is another implication of bringing guests to such a part of the city that is not set up for tourists. It also affects the local businesses. It's the liquor store guy, the local falafel guy, the corner store. Everyone is very excited to have this new market coming to visit them. Not the type of people to go and travel. They have the world coming to visit them, and they're very happy to practice their English with them. In our case, it also affected very much the car mechanics, which started to enjoy a very nice view of the tourists coming back from the beach. Yeah. When you have a hostel in the city center, in the tourist area, the energy is very easily spilled into the street. It's spent because you as a host is not required to provide more than just a bed and maybe basic information how to get from and return to the airport. Because everything is out there, like there's a lot of signs and they're all trying to get their foreign currencies and convincing them it's very accessible, and it's hard to keep the energy contained in the hostel. What we found out that when you're a little bit off the beaten track, guests are not so keen to leave the hostel immediately. They stick around. And if you provide them with common areas to socialize in and you sell them cheap beers, similar to the prices they're used to, then they stick around and they start to mix and meet each other and create some, new friendships, new travel buddies. And, if you invest even more in the facilities, they stick around even more. And when they do leave the hostel, usually it's in a group of newly made friends that are setting out there to explore the city. Sometimes really big groups, and it's very nice to see this community happening. And also in that stage, your recommendation and information that you can provide them is very useful because you know this part of town, you know what is happening. The guidebooks are not updated with what is going on in the, let's say, the cutting edge scene of South Tel Aviv. Let's go back to that Dawn of the Dead zombie scene from the beginning. So we have our Korean guests just standing there next to the gate trying to push it. You can see their lips mumbling a prayer in exotic languages, open sesame. So after we have a few laughs, we buzz them in. Some random zombie photo, but that's me over there. We buzz them in, and they are welcomed with a colorful gallery of the finest street artists of South Tel Aviv, with guests playing and chatting at the bar. Pop music is blasting, everything is colorful and designed, and how can I say? It's a catharsis for them. And so they can sit at the bar, chill out, make new friends, and start their Tel Aviv and Israel adventure with a bang, let's say. 2 years ago, I was invited to set up another hostel, this time in the north. by the only lake that we have, the Sea of Galilee. The location itself was, again, challenging. The city of Tiberias. Last century, it was still a festive, happy travelers, tourist towns where people enjoyed to come, and many of us as children spent our summer vacations there. But in the last decades, it has dwindled into a sad and failing town with unfulfilled potential. Most Israelis would avoid that city these days. The building in question was located in the very heart of the downtown, but that heart was just not beating. Perfect. Sounds just like the project that I would enjoy. So, the place itself used to be a motel, a very rundown motel. The ceiling was yellow with cigarette smoke, and the rotting wall-to-wall carpet and all facilities were broken. It has seen better days for sure. But what we also found out shortly after we moved in is that the place had a running reputation of being a brothel and a home for other shady activities. So once I got the key, I moved in with a group of renegade friends I met traveling around the world. The tattooed, short-tempered kind of people, you know. But these are the only people that would feel at home in such a location. So we started demolishing and rebuilding the place. Why from day one, we still took new guests. We received new guests to know what's going on. We topped that team with my Caucasian shepherd dog, and we convinced all the regular clients to not return there. It was very effective, that move with the dog. And then we started renovating, and we found out that Tiberias has a very eclectic range of people interested in actually coming to visit. From the local people, we had Orthodox Jews coming for the graves of the sages. We had Bedouins storming the city on the Muslim holidays. We had Israeli families coming to barbecue by the beaches in the civilian holidays. And from the tourists, we had Christian pilgrims coming to visit the whole sites around the lake that are related to Jesus. We had Israeli trail hikers and nature lovers coming to do day hikes or just passing through the city. We had archaeology lovers and history fans coming to marvel at the numerous ruins that are scattered all over that region. The city itself has a few of them, even though they're crumbling with neglect. And we had even political tourists coming up to the north and wanting to see for themselves what is going on the borders with Syria and Lebanon. But still, we were not very central located, even though it had the great potential, Tiberias, because it's located between the Galilee, the Jordan Valley, the Golan Heights, and just by the lake. If you look at the map of hostels, we are almost the most north actual hostel. If we want to brand ourselves as a capital of the north, the way this city used to be 2,000 years ago, this very year when it was established, we should help our competition to thrive. So what we did, we actually encouraged our guests to check out of our hostel and go and check into hostels that are further north and further east of us. And this way we aim to stretch the borders of the touristic itinerary. I know it's a slow process, but I believe that with the intention, it gradually does seem to work, and we start to have more hostels popping around, and we're very cooperative with them and helping them with advice and other support. And our dream is that when the tourists will land at Tel Aviv Ben Gurion Airport, and they will get the Israel Association, Hostel Association map, it will be dotted with numerous hostels in that region, and therefore they will put more emphasis and will feel that this is maybe a destination they should explore as important as Tel Aviv and as Jerusalem. Another drawback of Tiberias is that, unfortunately, it doesn't have so much to offer the tourists. Also us, but the tourists are the object of focus. Even the street signs are not in English, and the local vendors don't speak English. There's no maps, no tourist information. Nightlife is practically non-existent, and the few ruins that are there are, again, crumbling. So no problem. We started to design our own city maps, regional maps. We designed a textbook of day hikes that they can use to plan their own trip. At nighttime, when there's nothing to do, because it's a real ghost town, unlike Tel Aviv, then we started to have in-house events for them, things to do. And I even took them in my vintage VW bus. I took them out to nature, to local secret spots, jumping into the lake and the river and local kibbutz bars and all these experiences just to keep them busy and happy and to show to them the things I discovered myself when I moved north to set up this hostel. At this time, when I'm spending again time with them at night and we're going around and exploring places together, again, they are sharing with me their feedback of their experience in Israel, of what they like and what hurts them. And one of the things that hurt them most when they were visited in the north was to find out about this. I don't know why, but this seems to, it's like it's a seasonal thing. Maybe it's after the rain, you know, when the north is blooming, this also tends to happen. So instead of complaining or trying to find windmills, we used it. We initiated trips, like for cleaning the beaches. And I can tell you, most of the guests were joining happily. They would come and clean for themselves out of love for Mother Nature or out of love for this specific land. And again, we are bonding and traveling together. And after that, we all enjoy a well-deserved swim in the lake. I hope I managed to inspire at least a few of you to think outside of the box and look with fresh eyes at the map and go out there and set up new businesses which will be hubs for people from around the world to come and see the beauty that this region of the planet has to offer. I would like to finish with a quote that helps me go through this life. It's adapted from the words of Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, and it goes something like this. My mind tells me this is irrational, but my heart tells me this is what I have to do. And between these two things, these things happen. Thank you very much.